I have always enjoyed weightlifting, and prior to weightlifting, it was exercise and sports. But weightlifting came about when I was in high school, ninth grade, and my buddies started lifting weights without me, and they were always trying to get me into the weight room. And I would sit in this after hours class where I would sit with a girl and I would hang out with her in there, and I'd be working on math problems and my math homework and trying to get better at math. And it was all just to hang out with this female, right? And where I'm going with this is when I finally allowed my friends to convince me to go weightlifting, I fell in love with it. I already worked out at home. I already did push-ups, I did sit-ups, and I did like barbell curls basically with this makeshift barbell at night after soccer practice or after basketball. But during this time, it was soccer season. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And I would do push-ups, I would do sit-ups, but I had never found a real weight room where I could do real weights. I had never worked with barbells before where I could actually load them up with 135, 235, 315, 365. I've never really touched 405, but on a deadlift. But I fell in love with weightlifting, and in the beginning, it was all physical. I enjoyed getting stronger, and I could see my body changing tremendously when I first started working out. I was a very skinny kid. I still am a very skinny guy, but I have muscle mass to me now. And back then I was a very skinny kid without any muscle mass, which was a very different picture. It was a very different look. And once I started working out, I fell in love with the veins coming out of my arms. I fell in love with the pump, and I fell in love with getting stronger and being able to look like I worked out. People could tell that I worked out, and it was fun. And I had a good group of guys who were in the weight room pretty much as constantly as I was. And it didn't take me that long to fall in love with it. It was during soccer season when I first came about it, and then I got cut from the basketball team in my ninth grade year, and I spent every day, instead of going to a sports practice, I would go to the weight room because my parents were still getting out of work, and I didn't want to take the bus home. So I went to the weight room instead, and I didn't want to take the bus. I went to the weight room, and I stayed there until my dad could come pick me up. So I was in the weight room for 2, sometimes 3 hours, depending on if he got caught in traffic. And if I wasn't in the weight room because they closed it down on a half day or something, I would walk home. I wouldn't take the bus. I never wanted to take the bus. And fortunately, as a child, I didn't live too far away from my school. I lived about a 30-minute walk, which was about a mile. But I fell in love with the weight room. And then I continued on weightlifting for 10th grade, all of 10th grade, never stopped. All that summer between 9th and 10th grade, never stopped. All that summer between 10th and 11th grade, never stopped. Never stopped in 11th grade. And then 12th grade, I was on and off because I ended up getting a job, and I would, instead of going to the weight room after work, I would go straight to work, and then I would have to go home. And luckily we had some weights at home. We had not the Bowflex machine, but where you can walk around and do a little bit of everything. And then of course I had push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. But for the most part, that year I fell off a little bit. And then when I went off to college in my freshman year, I didn't really work out at all. And then in my sophomore year, I found the gym again, my sophomore year of college. And I continued working out for the rest of my college career and into my early adult life where I was working a real big boy job. And then COVID hit, they closed the gyms, and I got really skinny. During that time, I still had a form of working out though. I would run constantly, and I would do push-ups, I would do sit-ups. So I was very skinny. I was very skinny ripped, but I was very skinny, so I didn't really count it that much. And then a couple of years passed, and I found myself back in the gym again, like usual. Usually in points in my life where I'm having a lot of success or I'm really experiencing a lot of ups and not a lot of downs, I've been in the gym. And it's always been something that I fall back to. And when I get back to working out and being healthy and looking better, I tend to start doing better and everything else. It's really like my cement underneath my feet. It's my anchor. And I love that. And I love the pump. I love working out. I love being muscular. I love getting stronger. I really love the pump. But what I love most is what it does for me in the rest of my life. And I still, to this day, I work out. I bought a home gym, and it was about $3,000 to build the home gym because I just wanted to start getting back into the gym. I had stopped working out. I was drinking too much, and I just didn't look great. I didn't feel great about myself. And what did I do? I found my way back to my focal point, my center mass, which is working out. It was the thing that got everything moving in my life in the proper direction. It's where I learned discipline. It's where I learned to be hyper focused on something. And it's where I really just fell in love with progress over the day to day. Instead of today I hit a PR, tomorrow I got to hit another PR. I fell in love with just putting in that work. And that has translated over into so many areas of my life. And it's been great for me. It translated over into sales where I just wanted to get better at sales. It translated over into business where I just want to make the business better. And then it translated over to me becoming a founder of my own company where it was, I just want to put the work in. I just want to keep going. It's not about the goal. It's not about what the company finishes at revenue wise. It's not about any of that. It's all about putting the work in. The work is the fun part, and I'm addicted to the work. And I attribute that all back to falling in love with working out.